Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
So I have had this idea for a podcast for a while about change and how change happens, and it is inevitable, and it is a part of life, and it is this crazy thing that we try to resist it. Isn't that funny? Let's take a look at something simple. Aging, okay? The whole notion of anti-aging is redonkulous, isn't it? It's like saying anti-gravity. Like, you age. My youngest boy turned 6. He is aging. He's aging a day more each day. So is my 8.5-year-old. It is a part of life for us. Now, I know it's the whole thing. If you're trying to not look, I don't know, whatever your age means, or you're trying to, create more of a youthful appearance, that's beautiful, right? Listen, I'm 50, and so there's a lot of people that don't know who my age is, don't know how old that I am. And may, find out and go holy shit, you don't look 50, right? But it's not about anti-aging. I can't stop that. What I can do is I can be very aware of how I care for myself, how I feel about myself. The thoughts that I put into my head, sure, maybe a little piece of how I take care of my physical appearance and, my skin and stuff like that. But, it's a cheesy thing, but, the way that you look is definitely a reflection of how you feel about yourself on the inside. It is. It just really is. But this whole thing of thinking that we can stop, somehow we can reverse, we can Benjamin Button. Remember that movie, that Brad Pitt movie? We can Benjamin Button this thing called our life. And somehow we can not age. It's ridiculous, right? I mean, it's just change. It's change. It's going to happen. It's going to change the way that we look, and it is going to change different pieces of our life. Us aging is a piece of that, whether we're a newborn baby or we're a 50-year-old woman who's speaking to you right now. But change is this funny thing that we are often frightened of it, and for some of us, terrified of it. We don't want anything to change. We were no, I got life locked and loaded as it is right now in this moment. And everything's good. It's fine. I don't want it to, right? But the thing is that change is inevitable. Things are going to happen in your life that you did not plan. That there will be twists and turns that you couldn't even have anticipated. There was no you saw this coming, and we've all had those situations too, right? Where you're I kind of saw this one coming, right? But nope, there's going to be stuff that just blindsides you. Because life is inevitably about change. Listen, look outside at Mother Nature. Right now, as I record this podcast, we have this beautiful tree in the front yard of the home that we're in right now. I look across into the park, and through the park, I can see the ocean. The tides change. When I walk my dogs in the morning, the tide will be usually quite a ways out. And then as the day progresses, the tide kind of comes in more, right? The ocean, there'll be changes. I think it's every hour. Remember when I learned how to stand up paddleboard, and I took just one lesson, because you don't need a lot of lessons to stand up paddleboard, and especially not where our ocean is, very calm and just kind of very little waves and just glass. It's awesome. And so he said to me, I think it was every hour, he said the tide will begin to change, right? It's an inevitable thing. Outside here, this beautiful old tree where we live in an older neighborhood in Victoria, trees are massive. I think it's one of the older neighborhoods here in Victoria. And so this particular tree, the branches fall, little pieces of branches fall off all the time. The leaves are going to drop. The sun is going to change at different times. Listen, it's just change. Change happens. Look what happens to our body as women. Now, I don't have this anymore because I've gone through menopause or in menopause, but I don't have a menstrual cycle anymore. But you know how that normally works with our bodies as women once we get to that age, and then until we stop in menopause like I am right now. But just, there's a constant change in our cycle throughout the month. right? And it's a renewal. We know even just little things like our skin, right? I think it's something, gosh, what is the stat on skin? Is it every 30 days, I think, that we basically have new skin, or 60 or 90? I used to remember some of these things when I was in practice, but, right? There's a constant change that's going on. So we see it in our bodies. We see it in nature. Why is it that we somehow think that change is a bad thing? Well, I'm going to have you consider that we probably were programmed into that belief, right? By our upbringing, our parents, society, maybe teachers or others around you. And listen, this is not to say any of those things are bad and your parents did something bad. And it's just, our parents did their absolute best with what they knew to be true at the time. But to think that change is an awful thing, but yet change is inevitable, it's going to keep happening, puts us in this state of just like chaos, right? And stress and like dragging our feet like, nope, not going to go there, not going to go there. But it's like, well, wait a second, but it's going to happen. So I'm going to invite you, if you are a woman, you're just like, oh my God, change, like no way. I remember talking to actually probably a number of different stylists I've had over the years. When we lived in Alberta, I had the same stylist for all that we were there. Met her as soon as we moved. And then, actually no, but then she moved and then I saw her daughter. Anyways, I was in the same salon for like 14 years. And I remember talking to the one stylist I had for most of that time. Her name was Lynn. And I was like, I guess for me, it was always like change has been something that's been very much a constant in my life. So I don't know what it was, but at some point early in my life, I just like embraced that and saw it as an exciting thing and not as a bad thing. It doesn't mean that when I've had changes come in my life that I didn't expect or anticipate, that it wasn't painful or it didn't suck or I didn't, feel something from it that I didn't really want to feel, but here it is, here it was, there it is. But again, I don't know what it was because I certainly wasn't taught that. Something happened to me early in my life where I just went like, okay, change is going to happen. And I trusted that. I think I've been through so much shit in my life, as I know that you have too. Everybody has, right? And so I'm going to invite you to begin to see change in a different light. That just like we'll take a look at change and we'll go, like in the wintertime or the fall, leaves fall off the trees, at least in, most parts of the world that have 4 seasons. And then we have snow, it's a little bit cooler. And then spring, and then there's change. And then, the trees start to get leaves again and everything begins to grow. And it's like, we take a look at the seasons and we go like, change is a beautiful thing, right? We can even take a look at, I don't know if you're like me, but I like all the seasons. Now, we don't really have much of a winter here in Victoria. It might get a snowfall or a couple and it's so weird and then just all melts. But, I love fall. I like the coolness. I love the leaves changing color. I like to see them drop off, I love spring. I love summer that we're in right now as we record this podcast. Like just the change, it brings about all sorts of different things. When we lived in California, Northern California for about 5.5 years, we were in chiropractic college. My husband and I had this running joke. We're like, what's the weather like today? It's like, it's sunny and hot. Basically, it would be that from like March to October, which I know sounds like, like tiny violin Karen, like, that must have been so bad for you. And then, come November to February was like, the winter and it was a little bit kind of rainy and overcast, a little bit cooler, but certainly not cold. But, there was something when we were there that, like, I realized when we came back and we moved back home to Canada, we moved to Alberta, it was like, man, I miss the seasons. I like the change of that. There's something that's exciting about a change. It's like when it rains. Do you have that feeling when it rains where it's just like, like we had a rainy day the other day, which is so unusual here in the summer where we live. And it was like, it was nice to have a change. Like, big downpour. We haven't gotten rain for a long time. The lawns and the garden got a good water. It was like a little bit cooler and cloudy, right? Like change has this beautiful thing. It's like a fresh start, right? Or a redo or a reboot or a reset in some way. Because change is going to happen whether we want it to happen or not. And so we can either choose to embrace it or we can choose to resist it. We can choose to welcome it. Now, just so you know, you can welcome it and still it can be something that's like challenging. right? So we can choose to welcome change, or we can be like, nope, don't want it. Like we're trying to push it away, even though it's a stronger force and you're going to lose, right? We can choose to accept. Acceptance is the word. Accept the change happens. Or we can wish it didn't and choose to suffer instead. So what is it that's going to be for you? Let's roll this into more tip right now, the sister. Because I'm just laughing to myself as it kind of came through to me. Because change is such a challenging thing for many. So by the way, if this is you and you're just like, I don't like change, forget it, no way. I'm not signaling you out. I'm trying to say, I'm not calling you out. Like there are many that feel this way about change. And there's a loud, and here's change. Nice quiet day, the window's open, nice breeze, and then a loud lawnmower right now. Okay, let me finish this through. Actually, give me 1 second. I'm just gonna keep this rolling because what the hell? Change happens, right? Okay. Close the window at least a little bit so it's not so loud for you as we finish this up. Okay, so more tip. Because so many of you do resist change, and again, I'm not just calling you out on this one. If you don't like change, that is kind of a really common thing. But because we know it's going to happen, and the only way for it to get better for you when the change does happen is for you to really embrace it and to see all the beautiful pieces of change, this is what I have you do as part of your more tip today. Then I want you to open up your journal, and I want you to write at the top, change is awesome because ... and begin writing. A page if you want, 2 pages, let's just say a page. If you're just in a flow and you want to keep going, awesome. Change is awesome because ... and begin to write. Because the way that we see things won't change until we change the way that we actually see things. You feel that? Let me kind of say that again. That was kind of cool. Have I heard that? I don't even know. I don't even know if I can repeat that right now. I'd have to hit a rewind on that one, sister. We will not change the way that we see things until we change the way that we see. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. We can't change the way that we see things. Does that even make any sense? I can't even think right now. You know what? Just rewind that shit. We need to be able to shift our perception of how we choose to see. Because if the thing isn't actually changing, then the only thing we can change is the way that we actually see it. Do you get that? So I was talking to a client the other day about a situation in her life, and she can't change it right now. But the thing that she can change is the way that she chooses to see it. It doesn't mean it makes it any less, quote unquote, worse or hard or difficult or challenging. But if we choose to see it in a different way, our life opens up. When we choose to see it in a different light, with a different lens, it shifts the way that it impacts us, our emotions, our physical body, all of us. It's all the same. So change is awesome because ... and begin to write in your journal to begin this shift of how you're seeing change, because change is going to happen. So we might as well embrace it, because resisting it sucks. Resisting it means suffering. Embracing it means, let me see all the beautiful pieces. All right, sister, and listen, change is a big piece that we talk about when I coach women. These are a lot of women that I deal with. In fact, most of them are at just a real point in their life where they're just like, oh my God, this thing has happened. I didn't expect it. It's a massive change. It's dropped me to my knees. I don't know what to do anymore. I've gone through a lot of stuff, but I need help. I'm at a crossroads. I can't even, a question I'll often ask women is, what do you think would happen if this kind of continues the way it is without doing anything? And the response, quite commonly is like, well, I don't even want to think about it, or it would be bad, or it just can't continue, because the change has happened and it's difficult for a lot of us to deal with this. And so this is one of the big parts of my summer one-on-one coaching program is to deal with the massive, change, the shift, the challenge, the crisis, the crossroads that you are now currently in your life, and to give you the support and the tools and the resources and all of that to really have me in your back pocket as your coach one-on-one, literally 24/7. I have this for the Summer 101 Coaching Program, which as I record this is the beginning of July. So this will roll into September, July, August, September. And that at the end of those 3 months, the 90 days, that with all the support that I've given and all the work that we will do together as a team to get you out of the pit, to get you out of the challenge that you're in, and moving forward with the outcomes and the goals that you're going to set for those 90 days, that we'll be able to get there quickly in this one-on-one coaching and experience. So I had someone message me the other day saying like, hey, if it's in a group, it's like, no, it's one-on-one. That means me and you, sister, me and you, mano a mano, woman to woman, right? So there's nobody else that knows your stuff and everything. Now I do have group coaching programs, and I do have online programs. There's other experiences, but I realized a couple months ago that this is really, I love being able to have different things that'll suit a lot of you. This is why I have the podcast. This is why this is free, right? So I can get this message out to you. But if you were at a point right now where you're just like, man, this stuff is coming up, massive change, I don't know how to deal with it. I really need help. I'm so tired of being in this place. Then there are 2 spots that are remaining for this one-on-one coaching program in the summer months. So again, July, August into September. And that's it. So to have it this intensity with me in your back pocket 24/7, I only have so much time available for that kind of intensity. So there's 2 spots, and this is the first time that I've ever offered this kind of, we'll call it kind of like a VIP experience, really. That you have me on call. So that it's not just our weekly calls, but it's the in-between. It's the, oh my God, Karen, this has come up. What do I do? Like, give me some feedback, give me some suggestions. Like, I did this. What do you think? So that I'm able to actually make course corrections with you as a team along this journey. So by the end of the 90 days, like, you actually get to where you need to be. And so at a one-on-one intensity, like, it is such a beautiful experience. And this is really what I do best. And I love to work with my clients in this way. So to apply for one of these 2 spots, because yes, it is by application, what you need to do is to email me. So email me, Dr. Karen Osborne, DrKarenOsburn@gmail.com, and just say, Karen, I'd like to apply for one of the last 2 spots. I will send you the application. We will get on the phone and see if you are really fit for one of these 2 spots. And I'd be honored to have that time to spend with you and to have that conversation. So email me, Dr. Karen Osborne, Dr, and then my name, Karen Osborne, @gmail.com, and just say, Karen, I'd like to apply, and we will get started with that process right away. So I will talk to you on the next episode, sister. A life of more is just one step away from the understanding that change happens every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosburn.com/newsletter.